Dijon Dueños has always been known for making music that feels raw and personal, but Baby takes things to another level. It's messy in the best way that pretty much life is itself. The album is loud, it is chaotic at times, it's beautiful overall, um, and still soft all at once. So everything everywhere all at once. You can hear love, fear, anxiety, and joy, all of it just colliding on every track. The blueprint is written throughout this entire thing. Um, it's a concept album. I think it's a concept album. I don't think I've seen any official like print about it or announcement about that. It's a concept album, but it's it's a it's called Baby, right? And all the messaging is about it's around his marriage and it's around having a baby and having a child and his wife and how much he loves his wife, and that's great. That's cool. Um and even up to the point where the details of like conceiving of the child, you know what I mean? The acts of conceiving of the child and all that, and which is all healthy stuff, and it's great. Um but usually when people think of a concept album, that I know some people roll their eyes. Oh, it's a concept album. Oh, this guy's gonna get all weird and experimental and stuff, and um, it's gonna be thematic, and that theme is gonna be just like some weird avant-garde stuff. Now I'll give you this: it is very avant-garde. It is that. It's one of the weirdest, boldest albums that I listened to all year. Um, but I mean, if you can make a concept album um on uh on being a leader of a marching band, or you can make a concept album of drowning in your that was shout out to Chemical Romance, or you can make one about like drowning in your bathtub, which would be The Weekend, for example, right? The concept album there. Or even Lupe on some the whole experience of the transatlantic slave trade. This is just another topic, another issue, like getting married and having a child. It's just another issue. Let's explore it through an album format and stay on theme, stay on brand. So you can appreciate it for that. Um, the thing about it for me is that didn't Chance do this? Chance did this, right? Granted, it's a different genre, but not that far because it's not like Chance sticks to rapping like that because Chance does a lot of singing too. But Chance did this. Not only did Chance do this, Chance has gone through the full gamut of it because he's now divorced. He made a whole album how much about how much he loves his wife and all that stuff, and like I don't know, bro. It's like with the statistics of how marriages be failing, to make a project that's going to stand the test of time, that like showing how great your spouse is and how great things are with you and your spouse, there's a 50-50 chance that this album ain't for the long haul. Not the album, because it's gonna be like, whatever happened to them, right? I mean, with what is it, the big day? Was Chance's joint the big day? All that talk about um God and two fleshes become one, and being meant for each other and all that stuff, and how happy you were in that joint, and like next you know we watching a video with you twerking on some joint at Carnival.
This is culturally
Right. Granted,
inappropriate.
apparently
This
that
is
was after
culturally
the
inappropriate.
the thing, but like my point is like that, fast forward in the future, you're no longer in that space of happy marriage. Um, so we'll see. Good luck to them. you know, good luck to Dijon, and hopefully they have their 50-year celebration, their 100-year celebration. They've been together for 1,000 years. I wish that for them. I want that for them. Um, uh, so if you look at it in that realm, in the offering that he provides, so let's say it's not even his specific experience, the stories that he tells on here. It's a good concept album. It's thorough, right? There's a track on here where he's talking about like so there's one track he's like driving home from work, and at every red light, he's thinking, I wonder if she's thinking about me. I wonder if she's waiting for me. I wonder if she's like longing for me almost. And then there's other tracks where he's talking about how um kind of like flirting, just like this album or this track is to flirt with you. I'm flirting with you, and I'm gonna get home and we're gonna get freaky. It's pretty much it. Love songs like that. And anticipation building tracks like that, which is good, which is a good message to have out in the world, which is a good um uh chapter in an exploration of a concept, right? If that's going to be your album. I mean, to the point where you can have a child, and there's is it the opening track where like the I think it's opening track, it's called Automatic Love. I think it's that one um where I think it goes through the gamut of their child being born. And that's why, I guess that's why it's called automatic love, because as soon as you see the child and they're born, the baby, then you just like automatically fall in love with it. But the point I was gonna make earlier is that um shout out to making a track about having sex with your wife. I complained a little bit earlier about Gunna and the album just taking me out of it when you listen to a track and there's a theme for that song. Maybe there's some storytelling going on, even or some specific experience that you're retelling, and then for some reason in the middle of the thing you throw some kind of bar. You know what I mean? Like I blew Shorty's back out, or I clapped it like standing ovation, whatever. That makes some innuendos like having sex with some chick, and I'm like, but that has nothing to do with you was eating government cheese. You just talk about eating government cheese. Like what the fuck? You know what I mean? Like it had nothing to do with that. And like how about you just sit in the pain for a second? Sit in the pain for that song, for the whole song. Walk us through that thing. You wasn't fucking no chicks in that specific time. Which you was struggling. You were trying to keep the lights on. You were trying to like wonder where your next meal came from. You wasn't smashing nobody at the time. You later did. You fine. You got some pussy later. Congratulations to you. That was later. We'll hear that story later. But like, just leave us in this moment right here, and like let's explore that, right? Like, man, these niggas are like afraid of because like the thing is like when they're writing these lyrics, when they're singing these songs, it's cathartic. It is. When I write my stuff, when I write, it's cathartic. It's therapy. It takes me longer to write some stuff because my mind goes down these rabbit holes about my own existence and experiences, and what did I learn from that, and like what I do different, and how it makes me feel till today, and what aspects of myself is shaped by that occurrence. And that's from all these experiences I've had in my life, um, from high school to college um, to marriage to divorce. Even so yeah, as much as Chance thought he was there at that time and he was in that moment, he produced that album and is gonna live in all existence, and I'm sure he doesn't even regret it because like you know what? That's also part of his story. That's part of my story. So okay, fine. Not it doesn't always end up happy in a good place. Um but here Dijon is willing to put it on wax and down to the nitty gritty of it. And shout out to him for making a song about having sex in his marriage and how it's important to have sex in your marriage. It's like a very nuanced little point of like the whole big picture that he's painting. But like, I'm gonna tell you like this, bro. If you're out there and you're in a marriage that is sexless, that relationship is probably done. It's probably done. It's either that the sex isn't satisfactory to one or two of y'all, between the two of y'all, is one of y'all or two of y'all, the sex isn't satisfactory, or there's something else going on, something completely like outside of the physical connect intimacy part. There's something else going on that doesn't even allow for the space to um entertain sexual intimacy because somebody is resentful about something, somebody is self-conscious about something, or somebody has um historical trauma that is triggered about something. Like, it could be a bunch of, it could just be maybe somebody is I don't know, maybe they want the sex to, maybe you're trying to have kids. Maybe you're trying to have kids and you have trouble having kids, and there's a lot of families that go through that. There's a lot of couples that go through that. They want to have, one of them wants to have kids. Maybe they both want to have kids, but like one of them is like probably not as enthusiastic about it. Or maybe you're both enthusiastic about it and your body just doesn't function. Look, there's iterations are crazy and are wild. Why sex at some point can be like that, um, that's sort of like canary in a coal mine. That's what I'm trying to say. Sex is a canary in a coal mine in your relationship. If you're in whatever relationship, married, long-term relationship, partner, girlfriend, boyfriend kind of thing, if you're not having sex on a regular basis, and I would say regular, I don't know, people's libidos are different, people age groups are different. So like, how much you want sex is varies and depending on the type of sex. But like, if you're not having sex, I said if you're not having sex at least once a week, I'm trying to draw the most minimum bar here. If you're not having sex at least once a week, if it goes 2 weeks, if you're not having sex, that's it. Yeah, that's the bar. You should have sex within 7 days, once a week. If you're not, something's going on in the relationship. It could be the sex, it could be bad sex, but it could be something that's like a cause of not having good sex. So shout out to Dijon for like putting this at front center because that's an important message that I think is very overlooked. People don't realize that it's like, no, sex doesn't have to make a marriage, but it's an indicator of a happy marriage. People that are in happy marriages have sex. You know, whether you're in a hetero marriage or if you're in a same sex marriage, whatever, you're gonna have sex. You're gonna have that physical intimacy, right? And sex again is a broad term. It looks different depending on your situation, but however you define it, you need sex for marriage. If there's no sex, once the sex stops, if you're going like a month and a half, you hadn't had sex with your partner, especially your living partner, like nah, bro. It's that thing is it's like one of these when you have these plants and it looks like the green leaves are like, oh, the plants are time, but like the roots are already like rotted and gone and dead. It just takes time for the yellow to show up on those leaves, kind of thing. Um, so think about that, chew on it. Despite the textures of this project coming across very fractured, some shifts happen very suddenly. uh, the vision, because it's a concept album, unifies it all, and so it can be very forgiving. It there's if like I said, it's avant-garde, so like some of it can be like noise if you're not like in the right headspace to listen. So it's not, this is not like an album that you pick up like at any random point in time and just like, oh, just pick it up, pick a track and just play. It just doesn't work like that because it's way true introspective. It's a sonic labyrinth. You're listening to this thing and um you can have moments where you feel drawn in, you feel like you're getting cozy, and then all of a sudden there's a freaking jump scare, right? And not like a specific like horror movie style jump scare, but it's like I was in this zone, I was in this vibe, but no, it transitions into something else. He's telling a story, and you got to come along for the ride at his pace, at the band's pace. If you haven't already checked out this project, you gotta at least give it a one. You gotta give it at least a listen. This is why it's here. I wouldn't have it on the show if it wasn't at least worth a listen. It is a mind expanding experience. Um, it's probably the boldest. album that I've heard all year, probably next to I don't know, I'm thinking I mean I already made an illusion earlier about that other album where it's like an open Mike Eagle thing where it kind of like my coworker Clark Kent. That was the other album, but open Mike Eagle's album was pretty bold, pretty avant-garde. I think um I think the Weeknd's album is probably the closest I would say in terms of getting the locking in on a concept and sticking with it all the way through. Now, freaking Weeknd's that boy testified, boy. He gave us I think like 22 or 24 tracks. That joint was long. I loved it overall. And I sometimes go back to different tracks on there. Uh, but the Weeknd makes songs that are way more digestible. So like way more like a lot of them are just like radio hits kind of thing that I still while I still like those tracks and it fits well with the entire project. You know, more people are would be appealing to see it would never would be more people would check it those songs out. They would check those songs out, but never really go listen to the full album. Um, because he just makes songs that are way more catchy. He pick, you know, the production and stuff that happens on a weekend album. But Dijon doesn't pull any punches when it comes to that shit. He's like, no, I'm making my music, and you're gonna accept it, and you're gonna eat it the way I present it, and you will say thank you, sir, man. Have a good one.